And then he began shoving me, just shoving. When that didn't seem to prompt an angry response from me, then he began hitting me. Finally, I had had enough of this man's abuse. Now, I might have been skinny, but I was strong as an ox. And so I stood up, balled up my fists, reared back, took perfect aim, and Hi, this is Life After Trauma with Dr. Jan, helping you to take a stand and put an end to all the drama. Just think of me as your second mama. Hi there, I am Dr. Jan, and this is my channel. My channel is all about the trauma and drama of domestic abuse. Did you know that domestic abuse is a dark and silent culture? People do not talk about domestic abuse, and yet domestic abuse is pervasive, but no one is talking about it. I know, because I lived 42 years as a victim of domestic abuse. I know that is difficult to process, but it is true. And in all of those 42 years of living as a victim of domestic abuse, I never told anyone what was going on in my personal life, not even my own family. I remained silent all those years about the physical violence I endured, the emotional and verbal abuse. Worst of all, I think, is that psychological mind game called gaslighting. I am 85 years young. I was born in 1939, and I am a successful survivor and overcomer of domestic abuse, not just once, but twice. And I'm still in my right mind, and I don't look like where I've been. Come closer. But I have been to hell and back. I was married twice. I was married to husband number one for almost 20 years. He was older and physically violent. And I was married to husband number two for 22 years. He was younger by 10 and a half years. Yes, I was a cougar. He was emotionally and verbally abusive, plus a gaslighter. He was also a pastor of a prominent church. In total, I was married almost 42 plus years, and this is my story. But wait, before we get started, I want you to do me a big favor. I want you to hit that subscribe button, and I want you to hit that like button. Help me grow this channel. Help me get more content like this out there. Will you do that for me? Wonderful. Thank you. Now, let's get started. We will start with husband number one. Husband number one, the physically violent one. Now, for husband number one, let us call him Vincent. Now, Vincent is not his real name, but let's just call him that, Vincent. Let's start from the beginning, because I want to help you understand what it is like to live with a man who is prone to violence. A man who said he loved me, and yet the same man often hurt me and hurt me deeply. Thinking back from the beginning, Vincent was always irritable, angry, or upset about one thing or another. And when things didn't go his way, Vincent would explode into violence without any provocation, without any warning. I really don't know if his problems stemmed from childhood or whether or not it was something that happened to him when he was in the Korean War. But all I know is that this was his personality. Vincent had fluctuating moods and erratic behavior. He was, shall we say, different, peculiar, and yet he was brilliant. He had a genius mind. When we first met, we were in college. Vincent got straight A's and B's. Me, on the other hand, well, that was a different story. My grades were, let's say, more colorful, more diverse, shall we say. To tell you the truth, college was difficult for me. I struggled in college. But after Vincent and I married, Vincent helped me to learn how to study. No one had ever taught me that before. And so later, my grades began to improve tremendously. And pretty soon, I was getting all A's and B's too. Now, this might sound strange, but it's true. I do think and believe that I fell in love with Vincent's mind more so with him as a person. I mean, he could figure out answers to complex problems, and that just fascinated me. Mentally, Vincent was a genius, and yet he could not figure out how to manage his own emotions, and he had no social skills whatsoever. Basically, Vincent was a loner, most geniuses are, and he should have stayed alone. Unfortunately, I, being so young, had no discernment. Absolutely none. After all, when Vincent and I married in college, I was only 19 years old, straight out of high school. I was young and dumb and as green as this granny apple. That was me. But Vincent, on the other hand, Vincent was 24. He was a veteran of the Korean War and going to school. He was going to school on the GI Bill. After all, he had been all around the world, and I was still young and immature. And I could not read the handwriting on the wall. When you think about it, anyone with an ounce of common sense could have read the handwriting on Vincent and run as fast as they could. The bad news about Vincent was so obvious to everybody except me. Maya Angelou, that brilliant Black female philosopher, once said, "When a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time." Excellent advice. Because Vincent had shown me who he was so many times before we got married. My problem was I didn't believe that meat was greasy. No, I had to find out the hard way. Yes, I know that sounds crazy and it's insane, but that's the truth. And I do believe husband number one, Vincent, was attracted to me because I was the exact opposite of who he was. I was upbeat, I was calm, pleasant, I enjoyed people, and I took life in stride. They do say that opposites attract and later repel. I saw Vincent as someone who needed help. And the craziest thing was, I felt I could help him, change him, fix him. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yes, and dumb. I didn't change him, but Vincent almost changed me. Let me tell you what happened one unusually quiet and pleasant evening. Vincent and I didn't live on campus. We had a small one-bedroom apartment on the second floor in Philly. One evening, we were at home, sitting in the kitchen, enjoying ourselves. Now, this was rare. Strange as it may sound, it was unusual for Vincent and me to be happy and carefree. And so on that particular day, we were laughing and talking, playing and kidding around, just having fun with each other. And oh my God, I was ecstatic. I was having the time of my life. But that happy time did not last long, for all of a sudden, Vincent's mood changed without any warning. And then he started to nitpick with me. He was trying to get me to say something or do something, anything that would make him feel justified in being angry with me. Now, when we first got married, I used to have a lot of mouth. I really did. I was feisty and I would say exactly what was on my mind. And I would try to reason with Vincent and trying to coax him out of his weird and negative mood. But I quickly learned that trying to reason with Vincent when he was in one of those moods was just a waste of time. Why? Because Vincent would purposely twist whatever I said and turn it against me. So this time, I purposely didn't say anything. I simply held my tongue to avoid an argument. But even though I kept my mouth shut, and it was hard to do, I knew that being quiet and keeping my thoughts to myself would be the best way to handle this domestic crisis. Generally, when I shut up, Vincent would calm down, and it usually worked fine. But this time was different. Even though I never said a mumbling word, my silence only seemed to infuriate and upset Vincent that much more. Now, slowly, without warning, Vincent gets up from his chair and he walks around the table to the other side where I'm sitting. And then he began shoving me, just shoving. When that didn't seem to prompt an angry response from me, then he began hitting me, just on my arm. Finally, I had had enough of this man's abuse. Now, I might have been skinny, but I was strong as an ox. And so I stood up, balled up my fists, reared back, took perfect aim, and I socked Vincent, pow, smack dab in the middle of his mouth as hard as I could. The blow was so powerful that it knocked Vincent backwards onto the floor. Whoa, it was sweet to my soul. But I knew by the time Vincent finally picked him up from the floor, there would be hell to pay. So what did I do? I did what any sane person would do. I ran for my life faster than lightning. I dashed out of that kitchen, down the flight of stairs, out the front door, up the street, around the corner, and I was running as fast as my skinny legs would carry me. And I could run like the wind. Yes, I could. Naturally, Vincent gave chase. He was immediately on my heels, but I was able to pull away and leave that guy in the dust. Now, here I am running for my life. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do now? Where can I go? You see, I didn't have any money on me, not even enough to catch the trolley to my parents' house in West Philadelphia. In my haste to flee the apartment and get away from Vincent, I had left my purse in the apartment, and I didn't have any money on me to catch the trolley. And to make matters even worse, I didn't have any close friends nearby to turn to for help. I was a very friendly person. That's who I am. Very gregarious. I love people. I love to make friends. But I hadn't had time, or I should say, I hadn't taken the time to get to know any of my neighbors. Why? Because Vincent didn't want us to socialize with our neighbors or anyone. What I didn't realize at the time was it was Vincent's goal to keep me isolated and separated from my neighbors. Vincent purposely did not want me to get to know anyone, and he did not want our neighbors to get to know us. Because if they did, if I got to know them and they got to know me, then I would learn that our marriage and our way of life was not normal. And I would know that something was wrong with us. But I didn't know. Here I am, running for my life, and my mind is racing as fast as my legs were carrying me. And now I'm in a mess, reflecting over my life and wondering, what in the world is going to happen to me? What am I going to do? And how in the world did I get myself into this dangerous situation? But don't you dare miss the next episode. Episode number 2 is called 2 Wrongs Don't Make a Right. The shame and the guilt of losing one's virginity in a city park. Be sure to check into Life After Trauma with Dr. Jan. I want you to subscribe to my channel. I want you to hit that like button and help me grow this channel and get more content like this out there. God bless you. See you the next time with episode number 2. Thank you so much. See you next time.